What's going on, everybody? It is me, Peter Lucas, and it's your boy Nate. We're going to talk some NFC West football today on the Odd Couple podcast. So just glad that you guys are tuning in. We're about to get to it, though. Once again, hey guys, how's it going? It's the Odd Couple podcast, and I'm here with Nate there today. Like, Nate, I know that you're not really on the socials that much, but if you are anywhere, if I don't know if you got any new stuff out, why don't you tell everybody where they who you are and where they can find you?
I got nothing out. I just do this with. I've even deactivated my Facebook, man. Like I'm just sort of like in that place right now, just kind of doing my own thing. But it's always good to pop on here with you and chop it up like we always do, though.
For sure. And like eventually, I'm going to get you to come on Twitter, and join all the rest of us miserable people, like talking sports every day and getting in the spaces. But yeah, like so NFC West, very interesting division this year so far. You got the Niners doing Niner things. You got the Rams kind of getting they're getting through it. And then Seattle looks about what we thought Seattle was going to look like. And then you've got Arizona, which is I really kind of feel like is exactly what we thought too. We didn't know what it was going to be, and I still don't think we know what Arizona is. So, how do you feel about the NFC West, the division so far?
Well, we'll start from the bottom up before we get to our squads.
Yeah, for sure.
Arizona, and you notice how I said them first, not Seattle.
Yeah,
they are exactly what we said they were going to be, man. They don't have an identity. We don't even know who they are. Like there's no. You got a dynamic quarterback with Murray that just seems to be lost in everything that he's doing, and everything that seems to work there is just based on his athleticism. Mm-hmm. They don't have now. Having Hopkins out obviously is a huge hit, and you know, with what Kirk's doing in Jacksonville, maybe he was a little more in that offense than we thought he was, just maybe overshadowed by Hopkins. But you know, I mean, who's there? Ertz is in his 30s. Connor is maybe the best goal line running back in the league right now, but that's about all he is. Yeah, 425 yards and 17 touchdowns, James Conner. But you know, who's there? You know, you got Buda on defense. Again, Collins still not developing. Simmons, they still don't seem to know what to do with him. You know, they don't have anything that looks solid. I mean, if you got something else for me, I don't know. I mean, I don't see anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what you said. Kyler Murray is Kyler Murray. I'm still not really terribly impressed by Kyler Murray. I just think that when it comes down to it, and they got to face those good teams, what Kyler Murray does isn't going to be enough. And because if you're trusting in that kid to be, he's got to do everything for you, kind of like the Chargers do with Herbert. Like it's not gonna look good. Like I'm sorry, because he's not on that level, in my opinion. They have this kid Dortch they've been using as their slot receiver that has been killing it in fantasy. I don't know. Like I don't see them doing too much more than that. But yeah, like Isaiah Simmons hasn't been what I thought he was going to be defensively. This defense is kind of no name. Like JJ Watt got a sack in the last game. So I mean, you know what JJ Watt's going to give you, but we all know he's only going to play like 6 or 7 games a season. Yeah. So
it's 30 years old, man. Like you're 30.
And they have no corners.
Yeah.
So it's. I mean, I don't really blame you for picking them, putting them last in the power rankings of this division. They are just they're known, and I blame Kingsbury for it because I feel like there is talent on this roster. They just have no direction, and that's the way it looks. Just looks like they have no direction at all. But like, I mean, I don't know what else you can say. I mean, Kyler Murray's hair is nice. He has,
Dude, that throw is no joke, bro.
Yeah,
That's got to be a foot and a half off.
man, I don't even understand how he fits that thing in the helmet. Like, it's
How does
crazy.
it come out and stand like that? He pops out. It's like a boing, and it just gets
Yeah,
straight up.
It amazes me that this guy, he defies all logic of what we thought an NFL quarterback should look like. He's short. He's short, and he's stubby. Like, he doesn't like. I mean, it's just weird watching him kind of scoot around the field and run away from pressure. And it's just pretty crazy.
It's like watching Darren Sproles play quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it looks like. Except he can sling it. He can sling it. Like, I mean, the kid has a cannon for an arm. Like, but it's it's pretty crazy. What do you think about about Seattle?
I think that they're what I thought they would be almost exactly. Pete Carroll's always going to get a little more out of everybody than you think. He's always going to find a little more juice. You know, I mean, writing them off as a playoff contender is a very easy statement to make, but making them a no-brainer win in your head is a fool's errand, because Pete, I mean, you know, I'm tired of his face. I know you're tired of his face. It feels like he's been there for 50 years, man. But the guy does get the most juice out of that team. Last year was kind of an anomaly. It was sort of like the splatter, you know, it finally happened and they just got real bad. But I mean, you know, Geno Smith, he is what he's going to be. I mean, he's efficient. He's a short, he's a dink and dunk quarterback. He's not going to blow anybody up. I mean, it's kind of a waste with Lockett and Metcalf there. But I mean, again, what's their identity really? They're just kind of keeping everybody close. I know you guys put them away pretty early, but you know, they handled the Broncos. They definitely took the Falcons deep. You know, I mean, yeah. I'll be honest with all you guys. I haven't watched a lot of Seattle football this year. I just been kind of following things. More of what I've seen from them is just like written word, but they're definitely about where I thought they would be. You know, competitive. Like nobody's really walking over them.
Yeah,
but they're not going to win more than 5 or 6 games. There's just no way. But they will undoubtedly piss me or you off one week. It's going to happen. I know that you got them. You've already got one over with.
Yeah. But of course, so I think we proved that it was really Russell Wilson. It wasn't them.
No, for sure. Well, we said this last year on the podcast, like when we first started doing this. If Russ is on the field, they got a shot. You know?
Yeah, for sure. And Seattle. I look at Seattle. I think that their heart is. It looks like a team that their heart is in the right place. But the reality is that they just, the cupboard is kind of bare. Mm-hmm. And I still think Pete Carroll's a good coach. Unfortunately, I hate the guy, to be honest. Like, but I mean, the reality is that the fact that he can even make this team look kind of okay is crazy. Is crazy to me. He's got Geno Smith as his quarterback. I mean, yeah, he has good receivers. I would say the receivers are really good, but the what's it called? But their defense is bereft of talent. Like they have nothing. Nope. Now they have their bookend rookie tackles, like offensive tackles, which I think is really a good building block for them to have. And they have running backs, but once again, they have Geno Smith as their quarterback. Right. But their defense, they have the scheme. I think I like their scheme. They just don't have the players to really make it work. And right. It's kind of because their corners are they got Woolen who's got talent. He's just not he's a rookie. So it's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to save my dog from killing himself right now, real quick. But keep talking about Seattle.
A couple family guys here, people. This is what it is. But yeah, I mean, again, it's just going to wind up being probably a 5 to 6 win season in Seattle. I mean, there's just not enough there. Um, oh, Carroll will keep him going as much as he can, but there's just not enough gas in the tank there to do anything more than 5 or 6 wins. I just can't see it. I don't see how it could possibly be there, which is a huge drop off from a team really kind of ran the middle 2000s. I mean, from Holmgren being there all the way through Pete Carroll's entire reign there. I was just talking about from Holmgren coming there to Pete Carroll taking over. Like, Seattle was kind of the class of our division for a decade. I mean, really a decade and then some. I mean, it felt like it. They had a couple dips, when Holmgren got fired and Carroll took a second to get going. But I mean, really, dude, I mean, Seattle's been relevant. I mean, me and you grew up watching him in the AFC West getting smacked around by good Raiders teams and the Broncos and the John Elways and all that stuff. But then when they came over to us, it was kind of like a laugher at first.
Yeah.
And Holmgren really turned that whole thing around, I mean, and Carroll will get it right. I mean, sadly for us, as long as he wants to coach.
Do you really think that he's gonna coach that much longer? I just think that I don't think he's ready for a complete rebuild.
He's so energetic and he's so, like, as old as he is. I mean, he really just seems to love what he's doing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he would love to be the guy that put the pieces in place to pass on.
I could see that.
I definitely see him being there for that quarterback they pick next year, which,
Yeah,
unless they wind up signing somebody or a trade happens or something like that. But I mean, yeah. I mean, I think he'll be there long enough to just get a couple dominoes stood up and then pass it on to somebody else. I mean, I think he'll retire. I don't think he'll get fired.
yeah.
They'll let him go out on his feet for sure. After what he's done, I mean, really, dude. I mean, Seattle Super Bowl champs, playing in 2 Super Bowls, back-to-back years, or was it over 3 years, something like that? I mean, crazy. We never would have seen that coming growing up. They were the Lions, bro. I mean,
Yeah, no, they were terrible.
yeah.
And I think we thought we were going to have a doormat when they came to our division. I think we thought we were going to have a doormat for generations, and it just didn't turn out that way. But
Not at all.
but you guys have always been really good. The Rams have always been kind of had good time with the Seahawks. It's just us they kind of really dominated. I think even when you guys weren't good, you guys would have knockout dragouts with them. I always found it interesting that the dynamics of our division, how some teams just did not match up well against this team, but another team in the division just dominated that team, and it's just been really weird over the years.
Yeah, when Fisher came, the Rams started playing Seattle well. And before, from Spagnuolo and previous, there was nothing. Everybody was getting smoked. But and then the end of March and that disaster, I mean, just good God. But but yeah, once Fisher got there, he kind of had the way to get Wilson kind of dredged up. And then we drafted this kid, number 99. You heard of him before?
Yeah, I don't
he
know
sort
that guy.
closed the middle of your offense, except for you guys. He does it to everybody but you guys.
Yeah.
So moving
Well,
on.
he did it last year when it counted. That's all that mattered.
Yeah. And then, I mean, do you want me to get into us right now or
Yeah, let's I mean, because I would say that you guys are probably the best team in the division right now. If I'm speaking objectively, just by default, because I mean, honestly, see, it's a toss up between us and Seattle right now, the way we look. We're completely we're just completely discombobulated. If we're just going off of what we've shown this season, I know that we're a better team than what we've shown, but the 49ers they haven't put it on film for sure. All these good players that they have on the team, and we couldn't get 11 points in the last game.
But you guys do this, though. I mean, you guys have these kind of sluggish starts from time to time. I mean, barring the one really dominant year, what was it in 19?
2019.
Yeah, but like barring that, you guys do this. You just kind of trudge along and get your road win over the Rams and Monday night, or I mean your home win over the Rams and Monday Night Football, because we got to play there every year in Monday Night Football. What is the deal with that? Who signed that contract? That's what I want to. What do we got? 5 out of 6 years Monday Night Football in your spot?
Well, I mean, it's a rivalry, and I think that I think our division is kind of recognized as one of the best in the league. Over if you're talking about just from a
here, dude, let's play one here. I'm tired of going at nighttime.
I feel you. I feel you. Hey, like I mean, the wet. Well, no, you can't even say the weather because like it's
early season, dude.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's weird. I don't know why. Like, but I mean, we appreciate it, and we appreciate it. And like, and this is the thing, we always appreciate you guys because it's usually that's the game that's usually it kind of gets us kickstarted. That's when our season really starts, and I'm hoping that's what happens this year. I feel like that Shanny and Garoppolo hate each other right now for a good reason.
Sure.
And I don't even, it doesn't even, I thought that Garoppolo would want to come out and get paid because he's in a contract year, but it's like he doesn't care. It's like I mean, I don't think he's capable. And it's really where I just think that Shanahan has run out of ways to, and we'll find out next game, but I think he's run out of ways to hide Jimmy's deficiencies. And
well, I mean, look at it, dude. I mean, look, just real quick. Like, imagine as a man, as a in an ego driven sport and a pride driven sport, you've been on a freaking fishing string for 2 years.
Yeah,
they have literally dangled this dude like a carrot for 2. Anybody want to give us too much for this guy? Anybody? You? Anybody? You? Anybody? You? Anybody? You?
Yeah,
dude. I even read something that they were talking to the Rams. The Rams were sniffing to get him as a backup. I swear to God, they've dangled this guy to their own division, bro. Like, I mean, they've treated him, and I've never been a big fan of his. You know that. I've been vocal about that since jump. Like, watching that guy fail is like fresh bread for me, dude. But
yeah,
I mean, just as a man, like knowing what I deal with, like at my own job, you know, just like, cause my industry's a little ego driven too. Like,
yeah,
if you dangled me like a carrot for 2 years and then told me, hey bro, come save us. Like, I mean, my middle finger might get a little warm. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard to.
yeah. I feel you. Like, I said the same thing on was it the pod? We were talking about it yesterday on my podcast, and it's just, I mean, what do you do? Like, what do you do if you're Jimmy? Like, I can't imagine like not getting the playbook, them not trusting you. They're basically telling you you're not wanted. They make you have to give a going away speech at the end of the season last season. And now all of a sudden, hey, well, we'll let you come back if you take a humongous pay cut. and we might be able to get, I mean, it looks like now he's probably gonna get the 16 million that his contract could go up to, but like it's just the whole thing it was a tightrope to begin with. And the way that the front office has handled this whole thing from drafting Trey to now deciding that it was okay to let Jimmy play last season. They should have just in my opinion, they should have taken their lumps last year and just thrown Trey to the Wolves. He didn't look half bad in the preseason last year, but the other part of the equation is that Shanny wants things ran a certain way, and he's not going to allow you to kind of be yourself and throw to the guys you want to throw to. In my opinion, he kind of directs the offense, and you can't really deviate. You see, when Jimmy has to go away from his first read, he freezes, and all of a sudden now he's doing the happy dance back there, and anything can happen at that point,
Sure.
including stepping out of your own end zone and throwing a pick six and getting Trent Williams hurt in the same play, all in the same play. So
I know he's out. I mean, he's
out for he's got a high ankle sprain. He's going to be out for probably at least 6 to 7 weeks.
Oof.
So he's probably going to miss both Ram games. And it's going to be bad. I don't know if you watched the last game, but I mean, we had a revolving door at that position. They were just trying everybody out. They did everything short of grabbing people out of the stands and throwing them in there. They tried Jalen Moore first, but I mean, he took 2 snaps and they said, no, we can't do this. and then they put in Colton McKivitz, and he didn't look as bad as Jalen Moore, but I mean, he wasn't really good either. So it's going to be, so not only do we have to deal with the dysfunction of Shanahan and Jimmy, but we've also got to go do it without a Trent Williams, without a starting running back in Elijah Mitchell. Not that ever mattered before, but now Kyle doesn't really, he likes to run weird. He just likes to run inside zone. That's it. He does the occasional outside zone now, but he's doing mostly inside zone now. And which is not, and he wants to run it with Jeff Wilson. It just, none of it makes any kind of sense. Like we don't understand. I don't think any of the fans understand what's going on. We're hoping that we see a complete sea change in this next game, but who knows?
Let me give you some good news, buddy, about that. You're playing a team that has 1 defensive lineman. I mean, look, you're AD. Again, you guys are the only team in this league that seems to, on almost a gamely basis, neutralize him.
Yeah.
Buffalo did a pretty good job of it the other day, but I mean, that team's stacked from hilt to tilt. So I mean, that's an animal. But I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, you guys always seem to find a way. I mean, besides that, Gaines, Ashawn Robinson, Hoke, all these guys that they just rotate in, like they're just guys. They're just guys. You know, Gaines is a decent 3-4 nose tackle, decent. You know, I mean, but there's no, you know, the loss of Brockers, the loss of Joseph Dane out of the Chargers, like those really coming to fruition. And look, Bobby Wagner in his 10th year, yeah, dude, the guy's all over the field, but he's not changing the game for us. He's just not. He's not doing anything that's making me go, oh boy. Like you look at that back at that Cardinals game, it was bend, and then they would hold, and they held him to 4 field goals. You know, I mean, it really. If they get a team that can pound the rock on them, it's going to be a real long day. You know, I mean, and they haven't really had a team that can do that. I mean, they played. I know Cordell Patterson's kind of got himself a little niche over there in Atlanta, and the Rams did very, very well against him. But
my fantasy team thanks him, by the way.
Yeah, but you know, Buffalo had their way with us for the most part in the second half, and then you know, Arizona doesn't have a running back. So that's going to do more than, you know, 3 yards on a cloud of dust, Connor. So, I mean, you guys, I'm sure will be able to move the ball on us. I dread this game. I dread this game now because I just know what's coming. Like my buddy texted me today and he goes, oh, dude, we're dogs in Frisco. I go, yeah, you're damn right we are. And we should be dogs in Lambeau too. Go win a game. Go win a game in those houses. And then maybe you'll get a +3. Then maybe you'll get a +2. But until I don't care if the Rams are 6-0 and you're 1-5, I'd take a 3-point dog in your house until we beat you there. You know, I mean, the last time we beat you was Goff playing. God, who'd you guys have? Brian Hoyer?
Oh, geez. Like, we had to go to Brian Hoyer for you guys to get a win. I don't know.
That game was, it was like the Rams can't win there. They can't really beat you guys anywhere. So
the one bright spot for our team is our defense. Our defense is playing lights out. They really only, in the last game, even though Seattle got 11 points, the defense was only responsible for 6 of them. Right. Like, I mean, Garoppolo gave him 2. Shanny, I still attribute 3 of those points to Shanny because he decided not to take a holding call, and they kicked a field goal. He didn't take him out of field goal range.
Right.
Like, so, but our defense is, I mean, we're deep in the secondary, and I mean at all 3 levels of the defense, and it's a sight to behold. Hufanga is a beast in the secondary. I don't think anybody predicted that he would be as good as he's playing right now. We pulled a guy, Tashawn Gibson. Jimmy Ward hasn't played yet this season. Tashawn Gibson, we pulled him off the street like right before the last preseason game, and he's been a world beater. And then you've got our defensive line. Nick Bosa is just an animal. So it's like the one bright spot we have for that game is gonna be our defense. I know that our defense will be able to hold us in it at least for a little bit, but I mean they can't be on the field the whole game. Like that's the thing.
I'm going to tell you right now, if we beat you guys, it'll be 13-10. I'm going to tell you that. Let me tell you right now. I've been watching our offense very closely, and I went back and did some rewatching before we chatted today, just to brush up just on anything I might have missed. And I'm here to tell you right now, dude. Joseph Noteboom is seeing Bosa in his sleep right now. After watching Von Miller throw that dude around like a now again.
What happened to him? He looked so good like last season. What happened?
Well, because he wasn't the guy. They plugged him in for a game. Now he's the guy.
Okay.
It's like, I mean, it's one thing to come in for a game, and play well, but now it's his job, and there's nobody behind him. Like the Rams' offensive line is so far and away the biggest weakness on their team that it's not even. I mean, there's not even a measuring point to put it against. I losing Whitworth, even at 40 years old, was catastrophic for this line. And again, they've had 2 weeks with no pass rushing teams. Buffalo, 7 sacks. And I'm going to tell you right now, dude.
7 sacks?
6.
Was that 7 sacks? Wow.
6. It was 6 or 7. It was 6 or 7. Maybe but minimum 6.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you right now, dude, if the Rams don't figure out, if they don't get Kupp involved underneath very early, which again is brutal against you guys because Warner's in the middle, Greenlaw's in them. You have all these dudes that float around. Like we will have to make you make mistakes on offense to win this game.
Well, it's gonna be an interesting match. That's gonna be an interesting matchup because our 2 slot corners, right, who have both been good, both played really well. Like because we no longer have the guy, the Shark. I can't remember his name right now, but we just played him in Denver. Wow, that's horrible. But anyway, like we lost our guy from last year. Now we have a rookie and a second-year guy as our slot corners. But the rookie is Samuel Womack out of Toledo, of all people. Like he has looked ridiculous. Like, I mean, he runs a 4.3 physical, and he's even like, but he's like short. He's like 5'9", but he has this huge wingspan, and they even put him on the outside sometimes. Just if they had to. They played him in the outside and on the inside in preseason, and the guy he doesn't like to give up catches. I think he's given up like 1 catch. Even if the guy gets it in his hand, the guy is hand fighting like crazy. And then you've got Diamador Lenore that he kind of struggled last season, but he came in. He's the more, even though I said Womack is physical, Diamador Lenore is the more physical of the 2. He doesn't have as much speed, but he has grown leaps and bounds in the offseason at coverage. And but I personally would rather see. Well, I'm hoping that they put Womack on him, because they all of a sudden Womack was started the first 2 games and played great, and then out of nowhere, Diamador Lenore started last game. No injury. There was no injury to Womack. They just decided that Lenore had a good week of practice, and they decided to put him in. So that's going to be the matchup really of this game. I feel like can our slot corners that have kind of limited experience really cover Kupp? and like because I don't think you cover Cup. I think that you just
No.
hope to get a window of coverage in
Yeah.
there.
You just try to contain him. Like basically,
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp's not a guy who's gonna smoke, smoke four guys and blow down like Tyreek does. I mean, he's not that. He's gonna find the holes. He's
K'Wan Williams, that was his name. Sorry.
Yeah, you go. There you have it. The Kupp's just gonna find his holes and find his little slots and do his thing. Allen Robinson is finally getting involved in the offense. I definitely like what I've seen from him in the last couple of weeks. Not world beating numbers, but definitely getting involved. Higbee's going to be a factor. Jefferson just went on injured reserve, so
yeah, I saw that.
Now you dip down a pretty big tier between Kupp and Allen Robinson, and then I mean, really, it comes way down. We're using that. Well, Skownet guy is just not.
Skownet,
but he's not going to do anything against your defense. I mean, we're even putting Brandon Powell in there, a kick returner. Second round pick, wow. Still can't get on the field in spite of having a bare receiving core. And the kid, our Lance McCutcheon, our preseason, the Isaac
Darling.
Yeah. The Isaac Bruce of the preseason can't get on the field. So I don't know what that was all about. But
yeah, because he looked really good in the preseason. I don't know. Yeah, like maybe he's just pissing the coaching staff off. I don't know.
But probably the biggest factor for our offense in this particular game, and really going forward as our schedule gets harder and harder, we go from you to the Cowboys, and it just goes on from there. So, is going to be our running game. Cam Akers is a little more Atlanta Todd Gurley than Rams Todd Gurley. He's not. He has these moments.
He
had
a good run. He had a good run last game.
Yeah, he had a couple in the second half, but like, dude, I don't want to see 10 for 60. I want to see 24 for 130. Like and because Darrell Henderson, like, he's not a guy that you want to focus your offense around. He's the change of pace guy. He's not the starter. Darrell Henderson is there to spell Cam Akers, not the other way around. And this just has not worked out well for the Rams. He's a little too dinged up all the time. He seems to always have some sort of a foot issue going on. And look, if that's the case, that's the case. But I mean, and our third running back is Jake Funk. So, I don't think anybody's, real terrified of that. Basically, he's a really good special teams player who's never supposed to play running back ever. So, I mean, and again, we go back to the offensive line. Where's the push? Where are the holes? Playing your defense again with Warner in the middle, Armstead. I mean, good God, the list goes on and on. Where are we going to get those 3 or 4? Where's that 3rd and 2 going to come from if it's not through the air? You know what I mean? Where are those short third downs going to come from? I mean, and I don't know. And do we even have running the ball as an option to get those short third downs, or are we on the shotgun on 3rd and 1, trying to throw the Kupp across the middle? You know what I mean? Like, because that's what I've been seeing. And that's what I've been seeing. I mean, and it's, we're on the goal line, 1st and goal, throwing fade routes. Like, come on, I mean,
if it works, like, and you win, nobody's going to care what the route was. Like, so.
No, you know what I'm saying though? Like, just,
yeah, I feel you. Like, man, as a 49er fan, we just want something to work right now. Like, I just want to see some kind of offense just work, like, and score some points. Because the way I'm looking at it right now is not that I think it's going to be a really close game. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring affair at all. But I think that Matt Stafford it's the same thing as last year. He can make that one throw that Jimmy can't. And even though you guys don't have an offensive line, there's always the one throw that Jimmy cannot do those things.
No.
And if you ask Jimmy to go off script, it's not going to go well.
Right.
So when, I'm still kind of up in the air. I'm still waiting till later on in the week to kind of call what this game is going to, the score to this game, or to see who's going to win. because I'm kind of waiting to see the whole injury report. But it's I don't know. It's kind of a toss up because I think it's just who's going to suck the least on offense,
or who melts down and makes dumb mistakes. You know,
exactly.
I mean, really
Same
like
thing.
that. And recently it's been us. You know, those games have been tight, and then early on, and then it just gets away from us. You know, because your defense swarms and the Rams get beat up, and that dumb mistake happens. Now, last year, what was it, 31-10 over there?
Yeah.
You know, that was it was a blow. I know it was close early on. It was like 10-7, and then you guys just took off because the mistake. You know, and Matt Stafford is at 4 touchdowns, 5 picks right now through 3 games. He didn't throw any of either in the last game. It was his first game as a Ram without a touchdown, and it was Cup's first time in what was it? Was it 23 games under 5 catches? Or it was some ridiculous stat number like that. Like, oh my God! I mean, it was absurd. But I guess that makes sense when you win the Triple Crown, right? I mean, you're catching a lot of balls. So, I mean, but Matt gets a little colorblind. You know what I mean? And he'll throw. he'll
that's just funny.
He'll trust that howitzer a little too much. I mean, he threw a couple bad picks against Atlanta, dude. That game was a blowout. That was a 28-3 blowout. Fans were gone, dude. Pete, I'm telling you right now, we were there. Me and my boys were there. People were going up the stands. It was 31-10. People were leaving. They were leaving. It was over. Like, I mean, the Rams were dominating in every capacity. And then little Matty threw that really bad pick across the middle. Next thing you know, it's a 2-play touchdown, and then a block punt, yada yada. But the point is like he gets very sloppy with that trust in his arm. And again, I think he led the league in picks last year. I mean, he ended
up leading the league.
41 touchdowns, but 17 picks regardless. And in this day and age, with guys like Rodgers throwing 3-4 a year, Mahomes throwing 6-7 a year, 17 doesn't work in today's NFL, man. Like, there's no reason for it. To me, 10 or 11's got to be the cap.
Yeah, I agree. It's I agree with you. Like, I mean, but at the end of the day, you got the ring. And it's just it is what it is. But I hear you, and it's I just thought I look at I want to say the 49ers have the horses. Like, it's just I worry about Trent Williams not being there on the left side. I worry about Jimmy and his communication with Kyle.
Right.
It's weird because I don't think either one of us is really confident in our team right now early on. And but it doesn't make for a good like, oh yeah, we're going to get you. No, we're going to get you, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, I think we're just being a little realistic about the state of our teams right now. And, but yeah, it's why don't we talk about that? So next week we talked about the Rams and the 49ers. Seattle has to play the Falcons, I believe. Like,
no, they just played.
Oh, they just played. That's right. Like,
Falcons beat them, but I mean, it was a 4th quarter game.
Is it showing? Oh, that's why. And I would say that the Falcons kind of are surprising. They're an NFC West team. But who does Seattle play this week? They play Detroit. I feel like that's going to be a loss for them. It's in Detroit.
Goff loves Seattle. That's the one team he had a winning record against.
Oh yeah, that's your boy too. Like, but you've got to give Goff a little bit of credit this season. He's been putting points up.
Yeah. The Lions should be 2-1, dude. I mean, they threw that game away to Minnesota. They absolutely,
for sure.
That was a very Detroit thing to do. Another thing I want to touch on too is, remember, we in our little season preview we talked about how scared we were about this AFC West.
Yeah.
Now I know you guys had a rough one that you should have won, but I mean, realistically, the Raiders look like the Raiders.
Yeah.
And the Chargers look like the Chargers.
Yep.
and KC looks like KC. So
honestly, KC doesn't even look like KC. Like they're not
oh,
putting up points like they were last year. I know that Mahomes is still Mahomes, but they're not putting up there. It's not equaling points. Like they were the games that they've won, they've like barely scraped out. Like I think the first game that they the season they had, they blew a team out, and then but the last two games have not, or they lost last week.
Yeah, but they lost personal foul. So they had that game won, and Chris Jones got some weird taunting penalty with Matt Ryan, and that continued the drive, and that's what led to that touchdown. They had him stopped.
Yeah.
So they actually would have won that game sloppily, but they would have won that game 17-13 if it wasn't for that penalty.
17-13.
Yeah.
It's
no, I know.
It's so I mean, I don't think this season and the NFL in general is just so impossible to call right now. I don't think anything, because I think one reason for it is that these coaches aren't doing the obvious things. They're all trying to play off of matchups of what they perceive the matchups to be. And they're not just, back in when we were coming up, when we were kids, all the teams would do what they do best. And that was what they all had identities, that this is what's going to happen when you face the 49ers. You're going to get the West Coast offense. It's going to be a heavy dose of Jerry Rice. Like when you play the Rams, you're going to get a heavy dose of Jerome Bettis. You're going to get a heavy dose of whoever their running back was at the time. Like Flipper, you were going to see Flipper Anderson and Isaac Bruce. You were going to get those guys. Now in today's NFL, I feel like any given week, coaches are they're overthinking things. And like they're not utilizing their best players. They're using their best players as decoys to get the ball to randoms. And it's just weird. And I think that's one of the reasons why we've had a lot of the scores that we've had in the first 3 weeks. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I think the league's figuring itself out. I think that the offenses have gone to primarily shotgun. The NFL has had to adapt to college, because that's the NFL farm system, is the college ranks. So, and every single team in college that's not at a service academy runs some version of the shotgun zone read for their running plays, and they're running shotgun offense for most of their passing plays. I mean, it's so rare to see a quarterback take a snap under a center's butt these days in college, or the NFL. It seems to be that, like, I mean, really, dude, like, it's the NFL is just, it's adapting, and what it does is, I think it changes the way the defenses see everything too. Like there's no more, at least for the most part, barring maybe like the Titans, and Derrick Henry, a couple teams, but there's just no more having to put 8 guys in the box. You know what I mean? Like you're really not doing that anymore. There's nobody that really plays that game, at least not with any degree of success. I mean, even when you see teams running the ball well, they're running out of the shotgun, or a lot of shotgun plays, or they're running sweeps. Most of the runs that go through the gut come out of a shotgun, some sort of a zone read. You're always trying to throw some sort of misdirection at the defense. But I think the defenses are catching up, man. Like, I mean, I really do. Like, the NFL is at its most, it feels like the most parity it's ever been. Because even the teams that suck, are losing by a lot. Like, there's a lot of good games out there. There's a lot of, teams that, the Jets will make you sweat. I mean, they didn't.
That's insane.
Sweat. But the point is like, you're getting a lot of teams that are just getting better and figuring things out. I mean, really, I think that's the answer to the whole thing. Like, you're seeing a very, very high end of parity. Now, unfortunately, what we're not seeing is more teams, barring, shout out to the Bengals again for what they did last year. Nothing but love for them. I'm glad we won, but I'm glad it was them. Yeah. Barring them, you're not seeing, but at the end of the season, through all the promise you still see those same teams at the top for the most part. Yeah. So while we are seeing some more parity, we're seeing closer scores, we're seeing fewer blowouts, we're seeing a lot more close games. at the end of the year, that's where the change has got to come for a lot of these teams, because until a team can finish the season and make a playoff run and really make themselves relevant, it's going to wind up being the same teams. The only thing that we can say is that New England is finally not the best team in the AFC. They're finally not the best team in their own division, but they might be the third team best team in their division right now. And that's a beautiful thing.
Well, it's kind of funny that and I know this isn't a Patriots show, but it's just kind of funny that Bill Belichick is actually trying to go to the zone blocking for into the zone read into his, adding that into his bag. Like, it's when, I mean, they've been a power gap forever.
He's going with what kids are coming out of college doing, Pete. I'm telling you right now, like, for the first time ever over the last decade, college has begun to dictate what the NFL is going to do. And that has never been the case. It was always, of course, you had your triple option teams, your random teams. But, for the most part, you always saw that pro style offense. You saw teams wanting to emulate in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
They've moved away from that. College is this totally own beast. It's this total own thing. And now the NFL has had to change to what these kids are doing in college. A lot more zone run blocking, a lot more gap blocking. You're not seeing those power runs anymore, unless you're watching a lot of Wisconsin. You know what I mean? It's just really not, you're just not really seeing it. And again, Bill can either get into fit in, or he can just retire with a couple 6-win seasons and at the end of his unbelievably stellar career. So it is what it is, bud. I mean, you got to move with.
I would say that it's not changed for the better in my estimation. It's almost, I equate it almost to what, and I don't want to make this a basketball show, but I almost equate it to what's happening in the NBA, to where we base everything so much on analytics that it's ruining the actual product on the field and what we see. You know what I'm saying? And the quarterbacks were so driven. We're so driven by metrics with these quarterbacks that they can't even make a mistake. They're not even allowed to make mistakes. We just talked about it earlier about how, you got Aaron Rodgers and this guy and that guy only getting 6 and 7 picks a game. I mean, remember back in the day, it used to, a pick wasn't a big deal. It was going to happen. It was going to happen.
And 28 touchdowns, 18 picks, you're going to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. It was insane. But I think that those quarterbacks back in the day understood off script better, because you couldn't, because the defenses were allowed to put their hands on people. Exactly. And that wouldn't allow you to just run your offense. And if you were going with your first read every time, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day.
Absolutely.
So, but I think that that's part of what we're missing in today's NFL is these quarterbacks, when they get to their second read, after that, you got maybe 2-3 quarterbacks that know what to do after they get past their second read. Everybody else is just kind of and they just throw it up. They just throw it up and hope for a PI call. Right. So, yeah, but we'll go over what is going to happen with who is Arizona playing this week? They play Carolina.
Oh boy. Oh
my God. Nobody's watching that game.
Somebody's got to win, bro. Somebody's got to win.
Yes. Somebody's going to have to win. I mean, I think Arizona should win that game. In my estimation, they should. Mm-hmm. Kyler Murray is going to be just good enough to get them over the hump on that. And honestly, with that being said, I know you got to get out of here. So we're gonna cut it off now. But hey, I want obviously we're gonna do this again soon. I'm laying the groundwork with my wife. She hasn't heard it yet, and we're gonna try and make this a regular thing. But hey, I appreciate everybody that showed up and watched. thank you, Pinor and Tony and TED Talks Ball for coming in the chat. And yeah, like I'll see you next week, bud.
Yeah, for sure. We'll chop about our game. I know that we'll be texting for sure, but
For sure.
we'll chop about our game. We'll see how it plays.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Like it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a close game. Both of us are gonna just be hopefully the our chairs make it through the the day like without being split into timber. Like but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'll part with this. This is the one time that we've played in the last 4 years where I genuinely think we have no chance to win this game. And so we actually have a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that if I had said that it's the same thing. Like that probably means we're gonna win by 30. Like so
yeah.
But yeah. It is what it is. Like it's gonna be Rams 49er football. At the very least, the fan bases, are gonna go at it like and it'll be a beautiful thing. So but hey, appreciate having you on. Like we're gonna get out of here, but but everybody keep an eye out for this podcast. We're gonna try and get this done on a regular basis, and yeah, like while you're at it, check out Niner Fanatic channel, my normal podcast. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and just build up that channel, and check out what we're doing on what I'm doing on Twitter. I've got some shorts on TikTok, and then I'm even getting on Instagram now. It's a whole lot of social media for me, but I appreciate all the support that I get. So thank you guys. And with that being said, we'll see you guys next time we see you.